Everybody's Chris over at Dixieland Farm, and today I'm going to talk about an article that came out last week. I don't know when you're watching this video, but it came out last week for me on the death of MP3s. So the Fraunhofer, I think I'm saying it right. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Consortium, the ones who developed the MP3 codec, has declared that MP3s are dead. Don't use them. There are things that are better, like AAC. And the article failed to tell you that, coincidentally, the MP3 codec patent ran out. MP3 developers are no longer making money on having MP3 and everything. They do develop the AAC codec, which they say is superior. That has better sound and smaller files. But they did work on that, and the patent is still going. So they do get paid for the AAC. MP3 don't get paid. AAC do get paid. MP3 not so good. AAC better. Can't quite trust that now, can I? However, other people have picked up the baton for the MP3 development. The people who make Lame program, an encoder, have been working on it steadily and surpassed what the MP3 Fraunhofer people did. And so you will often see, I use Lame. And, they're making a point that I'm using the best encoder there is. And they did very scientific work as well. You can see their work on hydrogenaudio.io, I think is the website. Those forums are great. And they are super objective. Like any claim that you make of audibility, you have to prove with a double-blind test and the samples, and you have to give them to the developers. So if you said this thing didn't sound so good, prove it. And if you can't prove it, then you're just talking. And that is that's not fun for audio, but it is fun. It is important for development of science that you actually have to prove which way you're going is the way you're going. Anyway, so is the MP3 really dead? Well, also in that article, I believe they did that difference demonstration, which I've seen people do. Stereophile's done this also, and it is a horrible example to people because it scares people because people don't get what's going on, right? So they take an uncompressed wave file, so it's got all the audio frequencies and the MP3, so it's got stuff removed that we can't audibly hear. To a point. Now, they'll use 128K MP3 usually on these demonstrations. Apple hasn't sold 128K MP3 since, I think, 2009. Any ones that many people make are usually 256 at this point. So low bit rate MP3s haven't been around for 10 years. If the only time you've ever heard an MP3 and made a value judgment on it was in 1999 with Napster or Kazaa or LimeWire or all those stolen sites, that was back in the days when we had dial-up connectivity and the size of the file was important. So they made the file as small as possible, regardless of audio quality. And that is not the case anymore. Again, I haven't seen that small of an MP3 at least 10 years. But anyway, when they do that demonstration, they use like the crappiest version of the MP3 they can, and the full version, and they do a comparison. They give you what is removed from the MP3, so you only hear what the difference was from the full, what was removed, and it's startling. And I understand it is startling. It's there is quite a bit of frequencies that are being removed. And then people knee-jerk reaction is, well, I don't want that. I want the whole thing because listen to all the stuff that's being removed. It's amazing. It sounds terrible. How could you remove all that? But that is the science. Amazingly, when we have music playing, there is actually quite a bit we are physically not hearing because of the way our ear is built. And and there are plenty of scientific studies proving that, right? And so an amazing amount that is full frequency we don't actually need because we don't even process it. If you take a infrared remote control and shine it at your eye, if you shined it at a sensor, it's amazingly bright. To us, it just does not exist because we do not have the ability to see that. we can't go blind just putting an infrared, shining it at our eyes, constantly. Wouldn't do anything to us because we do not have the hardware in our eyes to receive it. Same thing with the ear. When those different things are playing at once, our brain can only process part of it, not the whole thing. That's how MP3s work. That's why we can discard so much data. That's how AACs work. That's why we can discard so much data, and amazingly so. And again, if you've built your opinion on illegally downloaded MP3s from almost 20 years ago, you're doing yourself a great disservice because MP3s are amazing. So much so that I've actually started moving a lot of my collection to high bitrate MP3s because I've done my own real tests with my own real equipment and with the lame encoder, so a good encoder, to prove that I cannot hear the difference between full frequency and 256K variable bitrate. Variable bitrate means that instead of saying, okay, it's always going to be this bitrate constantly, it actually kind of flows with the music as needed. So at quieter passages, there might be some less bits going on, and then when it needs it, cymbal crashes, things like that, it'll jump as needed. And you can actually watch the lame encoder do that. You can watch it, and it'll actually give you a percentage of how much things are going. And so that's just the average number is 256. And again, it is, to me, audibly transparent, to the manufacturers, audibly transparent, to the developers of lame, audibly transparent. And if you've ever done a proper ABX test yourself, which nobody does, you would say it's audibly transparent, despite how much stuff is actually being removed. And again, those demos that they're doing are usually doing the worst case scenario to, I don't know, prove a point. But it's not science, it's showmanship. It's P.T. Barnum, actually. But, I mean, it is neat, but it's, you have to know exactly what's going on. Anyway, I have rambled about MP3s. Again, they are amazing. I've got, 1,000 full albums. I'm transferring vinyl because I don't need the physical copy of John Denver's greatest hits, but I'll have an MP3 copy of that, which I can transfer to my phone. I can transfer it to my MP3 player, which I still have. I can transfer it computer to computer. I can transfer it to a CD-ROM or DVD-ROM and have a huge music library instead of all of this, which all of this is still cool. Don't get me wrong. I am still keeping things because this is cool. I like this and I like the sound of it and I will enjoy playing this, but not everything in the world has to be on vinyl. And not everything has to be full frequency CD also. It's nothing wrong with having it. But these are all tools. They're all tools for music. And we're tools for music. So that's why don't just give up on MP3s. And don't believe the Fraunhofer people who don't want you to have something that's free now. MP3 is going to be around for a long time in my prediction, and so will MP4s. In my prediction, I think they will be around for a long time. They won't be. They'll be supplanted at some point, I'm sure, but I think those two formats will be around for a long time. So you don't have anything to worry about. Everybody, take care. Thanks for watching.